All right, we're missing one. I think they'll be here shortly. I'd like to call to order the January 12th, 2026, oh boy, Parks and Recreation Advisory Board meeting. Can you please start with the roll call?
Aaron Angel is not here tonight. Scott Conlon, not here. Sarah Flynn.
Here.
Sam Libby.
Here.
Hannah Mulroy.
Here.
Nicholas Novello.
Here.
Brandy Bradshaw Reyes.
Here.
And Council Liaison Sean McCoy.
Present.
Thank you.
Great. So, really excited to welcome a new member to the board, Sarah Flynn. Hi, welcome. So nice to have you. I would put you on the spot and say, tell us all about yourself, but I don't know, maybe that's too mean on your first day.
I can introduce myself. So I lived in Longmont about 9 years now, and I live pretty close to here. I have two little girls, a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old, so we use the parks a lot. We use the bike paths and the trails a lot around here. I also used to work on a trail crew for a government agency in Utah, so I have a bit of understanding of what that looks like to be on the other side, not just a trail user, but one of the people that hear from the public also. So I'm excited to kind of understand more about how Longmont does it, and I'm very excited to get to share my input too. So.
Great, and we're really looking forward to your contributions.
Thanks.
And to hear from you. Don't be shy.
Thanks.
I'll also just note here, and it's not technically on the agenda, but I'll just say both myself and Scott were getting a little ahead of it, but we are term limited, so this will be our last year.
Okay.
So that there will be a process to find replacements later on in the year, but something to keep in mind in case and the public can know that as well. So if you have a friend that you might think might be interested, keep that in mind. Okay. Then we need to move to electing a chair for 2026. And for that, the best way to do it, we're going to do a vote on this.
Do we have any nominees?
Yes, that's right.
Yourself or somebody else?
Are you going to continue on, Nick? Do you want to stay on, or?
I would love to continue to serve and be
Okay.
happy to do that.
Great.
I also, if anyone wants to raise their hand, I'm not gonna stop them, but-
I'd be happy to nominate Nick. It'd be good for another year. Last year, good way to go out.
Yeah.
A nice job.
Okay, great. Any other
Any other nominees?
nominees?
Somebody want a second?
I'll
Second.
Okay. Do we I think we need to
Yeah. Raise of hands. Who
raise your
votes
hands?
for
Yeah.
Nick?
Okay. All right.
Sounds good.
Okay, great. Thank you, everyone. Happy to continue to serve.
Congratulations.
Thank you. One more good year here. And then we also need to have a vice chair. And I would like to nominate Hannah right away.
Great.
But,
Great.
if there's any other nominations, I'd be happy to. Okay, thank you. All those in favor? Okay. All right, great. So that passes as well. So great, we have our board. Great. Okay, we have a couple administrative topics to go through, and then a couple updates as well. Anyone have any amendments to the agenda for this month? No. If not, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll move to approve.
Okay, is there a second? Great. All those in favor? Okay, that also passes. Awesome. And I'm just going to make sure my phone is silent because it's ringing on me. Okay, and then we are on to approval of previous month's minutes. And we're going to read the packet and see the previous month's minutes. Were there any adjustments you want to make to the notes from that meeting? Clarifications? Things that we want to correct? No? Okay. If that's the case, then is there a motion to approve of the previous month's minutes?
Yeah, I'll move to approve.
Great.
I can second.
All right, all those in favor? Okay, that passes as well. Wonderful. Okay, moving on to public invited to be heard. I think we have 2, maybe 3. 2.
You want to be public invited here?
Yeah, sir, you can.
2. I apologize. Okay, 2. Just a 2. Okay, great.
Okay, so I'll just stay seated, that's okay. I think you can see me. My name's Sherry Malloy. I live on Sherman Way, 1632 Sherman Way, Longmont resident since 1986. 86, something in there. Yeah, 86 actually. So anyway, thank you for continuing to serve on the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board meeting. I'm a member of Longmont Friends of Open Space. We've spoken to this group before with some very serious concerns about the distal cull land exchange, which since has fallen apart. But we have continued to stay engaged and want to be proactive around ensuring that we kind of don't get into that kind of position again. I just want to be on the record of someone who is very strong in keeping organics, getting and keeping organics out of our landfills. I'm a charter member of the Sustainable Resilient Longmont Zero Waste team. We advocated and got curbside composting in Longmont. It was kind of based on that work. League of Women Voters Climate Action Team, a Longmont, an EcoCycle eco leader since the 80s also. So, I'm all about that, but the issue was about using open space to do that, because there's always going to be a good cause. So that's just kind of the recap on our advocacy. But as I said, we're continuing to try to be proactive and look at how can we get more protections so that doesn't happen again. But in coming to PRAB, and a lot of these things come by you. I see there's a couple open space items on your agenda tonight. I would like to make a suggestion for something like this, to add O to parks, to PRAB, and make it pro, or something else, where it would be parks, recreation, open space, leave off, yes, so you can say pro, advisory board. So I know this came up at another meeting, some member had mentioned it, so I just would like to put that out there as a suggestion to consider for a future agenda. So that's pretty much it, so thank you.
Great, thank you. And we will cover this later, but actually that is one of the considered agenda topics for October, June. I don't remember exactly when. So it's on there. We're thinking about it as well. It's it's just a name, but I think a name is important. It establishes kind of what we represent and what's important to us. So I think you're right. I agree with you.
It just sort of, from my perspective, it sort of elevates open space, from
yes.
being like a, oh yeah, that's in there too, to, kind of getting a little bit more recognition, respect, whatever the word is.
Yes, that it deserves.
And he's doing it, so you might not capture it in the name. So I realize I won't rhyme anymore with tab and sab and web, but
we'll debate acronyms another time. I guess in June. Yeah. Yeah.
My name is Dan Mulford, excuse me. I live at 1815 3rd Avenue, and I've probably been there 32 years as a resident of Longmont, and I too am a member of Longmont Friends of Open Space. And I'd love to mention the fact that I think it's a great idea to include open space somehow in your name that shows that it's, again, one of your areas of focus. I think it's great. I also wanted to just provide a little update to the Parks Board in the fact that we are currently meeting with council members, and we just met with the mayor yesterday on a busy Sunday with the intent of further steps to protect open space from the crazy dispositions that we had to deal with last year. Some of those things may include modifications to the existing disposition ordinance and some language changes. I mean, things like removing in that ordinance the term public benefit. Because a new recreation center is clearly a public benefit. But does that fit into the open space program? From my perspective, probably not. The other thing we're asking council too is, back in 2015, council gave staff direction to include a conservation easement on all fee acquisitions, but that was really never documented in an ordinance or a resolution, so we're asking for that to happen. And then the third point that we're chatting with, and we were pretty excited about having that conversation and the positive feedback that we got from Mayor about maybe doing a modification to the city's charter, which would take a vote of the public in November, that would include open space under water rights and parklands, that any disposition or removal of that would have to go to people. So my hopes is that through a collaborative effort with staff, city attorney's office, city manager's office, Prab, whatever you're gonna be, your new name will be,
Crab, yeah.
will
Potentially.
be engaged in this process, and we'll see where we end up. But we're pretty excited about these opportunities, and we've got certain council members that we'll be meeting with in the future, as well as remaining balanced. So we're pretty excited about where we're headed.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for the update. Any comments or thoughts on that from the board, from staff, council liaison, Coy? If not, that's
well,
okay. I won't put you on the spot too much.
Not
Just a little
right
bit.
now. No comments right now.
Okay, that's fair. Thank you. All right, we will move on. There's no more. Okay, great. We'll move on to old business, and there is no old business, but we have some new business, which is open space updates. And we have 4 different items we're going to go to, and we're going to share this presentation. Correct. Who's running this?
There's 4 of us.
There's
who
4 of
are
you all
going to
taking
be-
turns.
Yeah, so we'll do limited in the presentation realm up here for I think a couple of us, but
Okay.
my topic is first, and
Great.
just to introduce myself, I do know a few of you from a different role I had in the Natural Resources Department. I've been with Natural Resources here with the city for over 8 years, but I just recently made a transition from the Parks and Trails Development team to the Open Space team. So happy to be just helping out in all respects and really just learning the ins and outs of every part of Natural Resources, which has been fabulous. My position is a senior project manager for open space and agriculture, so my primary role is not only a project manager in different aspects, we do trails projects, but we also have a GIS mapping project, which is what I'm going to speak to you about tonight, but then also the agricultural side of things, so I do a lot of work with our tenants and our ag properties for the open space group. So thank you for having me. And I would like to show you our new and improved public lands map, which is part of the land space.
You didn't say your name.
I didn't say my name.
No.
Oh, I'm so sorry. My name is Elisa Champ. Again, thank you so much for having me. Sorry about that. You can call me Hey You if you'd like. That works too. So thank you for that then. I appreciate it. So Landspace is a GIS mapping project that came under the radar of the Open Space Group and was led initially by our project management office and then transitioned to myself in my senior project management role. We have a small team of wonderful individuals through our kind of initial purview for this internal and external 2-phase mapping project. We have a few folks from the GIS team who have been wonderful. We have water resources involved. We have the Open Space Group. Sarah here is our senior project manager and subject matter expert for the Open Space Group. And then we also have representatives from the oil and gas management group who are all involved in this mapping project. This is a huge endeavor that's going to go beyond what our initial goal is here and move on to other departments, but we're trying to kind of set the stage for that to be successful and for all of the city staff as well as the public to have kind of one source to go to for all of their mapping needs. As some of you may know, we have lots of different resources for mapping for the city. We have, raptor nest mapping, and we have annexation mapping, and we have public lands mapping, and all kinds of different things. So we're just trying to kind of have one resource for everybody to sort of utilize for that. So I don't think I missed anybody in our group there. I'm happy to have discussions about those individuals who have just been fantastic and really have contributed greatly to this project and been through a lot of trials and tribulations in trying to get some of our documents in place in order to be successful in this. So I'd like to pull up our public lands map for you, which is now live. If anybody had accessed the public lands map previously, you would have clicked on a link that showed up on our public lands map page, and it would have taken you kind of a stagnant map that really just showed relatively inaccurately, I might say, some of the public lands that are out there, and then some future parks lands as well, which weren't actually open to the public at all. So it was a little bit confusing, a little bit inaccurate, and folks were finding when they went to go use this map that not only were they having to use this, but they were still having to use Boulder County as a resource because not everything was showing up. And so that was sort of our phase one objective, was to re-release a new and improved public lands map. The project was initiated for both phases in late 2024. We really got our feet under us for kind of going through the construction phase of this project, the realistic portion of getting things moving in about mid-2025, and we did launch it in December of 2026. So we have rolled this out internally to city staff initially so that we could gauge some reactions, maybe see any hiccups that were happening in the map, and get a little bit of feedback before we started our public release phase, which will be happening this first quarter of 2026, and includes going out in the city talk and the city line, and then some social media outreach as well. So really just trying to, guide people towards this map and have them utilize this. We were able to work with a number of internal groups, like the Rangers, and we worked a little bit through them with the call center. Parks was monumental in assisting us because they have an existing maintenance layer, and we don't necessarily have great documentation on all of our greenway areas for legal deed markings to kind of build that shape off of. So they were wonderful in helping us produce this. We did give just sort of this welcome page, a little bit of an update. We tried to include just a really brief overview of the map here, so folks kind of have a preview into it. And then you have your still shot here that you can click on to get to the public lands map, and then a little bit of how-to on how you use it, and a link here so you can reach out to GIS when it breaks, which never happens, ever.
Sarcasm.
Yes. So, come on here. We do have just the terms and conditions. This is mostly built out, but there's little tweaks we're making here and there, so we want folks to know this isn't the end-all be-all legal piece of things for people to reference. What we did with the maps here, and Jackson is our GIS expert, Jackson Barr. He was wonderful and so good at just brainstorming what would work and what wouldn't work, and we actually went through quite a few different iterations of this, trying to figure out if a dashboard was going to be the best option, and ultimately landed on this in between because the dashboard wasn't, we felt like, giving the public what they desired out of this type of map. So when you kind of zoom in here, you'll see that these green highlighted properties are all publicly accessible, and that was really truly the key for us. Can the public go into this property and be within their legal access to be able to enjoy these spaces? That was really key with working with the Rangers, is understanding the ins and outs of that, and some of the areas that maybe we have fences up, and Jim Crick, we worked with him as well to understand where some of those ecosystem boundaries are, where they're trying to protect habitat. So you can kind of get an overview. Here's Button Rock up here, which we do have a lot of public lands on. Those are water utility lands. As you zoom in, you can see some pieces that you may recognize: McCall, McIntosh Lake. We also included leases that the city holds with other entities, because those are public accessible places. When you go to these different facilities, we can call them, that's what they're called on our website here, you can click on the actual facility and get a little bit of fun information. We had narrowed these attribute fields down to what we thought was really what the public wanted to know about, and wasn't just fluff that they would have to scroll through and kind of get bored with. So the name of the facility or the shape, the address of it, what kind of property it is, the county it's in, which I think is helpful for some folks. Obviously public access should be yes on all of these. There are a few properties that show partial access, and then it has the acreage there as well. So you can see with like the greenways, we were able to kind of give some details on those, and even give a little bit of acreage for that, which was really nice. Over here on the left-hand side, you have a drop-down menu where you can toggle on and off features that you'd like to see. So folks can see what areas hold dog parks that they can go and visit. I don't know why it zoomed over there, sorry about that. They can see the greenways here. You can scroll down and see if you want to just go to the parks and have that, or have the parks and greenways and map yourself a really beautiful bike trip out there, you can do that. Amenities are directly related to what is in the parks to utilize. If folks want to know these different options, maybe they just want to visit the gardens that are out there, and they can do that too within those park areas. We do have some recreational activities that are highlighted here, so folks can see where they can have different kinds of water access out there. Sports fields, if they have a very particular sport in mind, if they want to, frisbee golfing, they'll be able to toggle those on and off.
So like cricket, how many cricket pitches do we have? Does it show?
It does. Let me see. I don't know how many things. And so right now what you should be looking at is the cricket pitch that is over on Dry Creek Park. So that's this is why we have to go through and try these things out, unless I have something highlighted up here that cancels it out.
Yeah.
There
it is.
So there's garden acres. So that's part of it. You got to go back and forth and take off some of those things that are highlighted that wouldn't have those. So we should still be seeing. There it is.
There you go.
Yep. There we go. So yeah, so kind of a neat thing if people are really, really looking for something specific and they don't want to go through our, tens of facilities pages to find it, they can use this resource to do that. Let me turn that one off to give us the whole picture. Then you have your trails in here as well. So we have it even down to the accessibility of those trails out there. We talked a lot about folding in additional layers, like there's a specific bike map layer, there's a trail closures map, Art in Public Places has their own layer, and we determined that at this time it was scope creep for us, so we didn't want to get off course on what we were trying to do, but we wanted people to be able to access that directly from this website, which they're able to do now, so they can go in and click on those various maps that are related to the public lands map as well, which is kind of neat. Down here, you'll see these different parks, and we're fixing this aspect of it. This is something the GIS personnel is aware of, but they don't have it prepared for this size of screen. If you look it up on your computer, you'll see the full park tab down here. And so if you click on the park there, it'll zoom you into to that facility. On the map, if you click on the Learn More, it'll take you to the website here, so folks can look up more information and see what they need to do reservations or whatnot. And that has every facility listed in there and some wonderful pictures associated with it. One more key point of the map here is you'll see these little orange lines throughout. Those are denoting the actual trail within that shape of publicly accessible land. And with that, I think that kind of covers all the features in there. We are still in the land space project. We'll be moving into our phase 2, which is internal mapping initiative. That'll be a little more detailed in documents.
Thank you, Elise. That was fantastic. Any comments or questions from the board? Any want to give it?
I had a question. So, did you say that the trail closures part will be incorporated at some point later?
Yeah. So it is our hope and our intent that we will produce a series of SOPs and sort of guiding documents, and then training series after the land space project is finished that we can go to other departments with and say, okay, your turn. Here's how we want you to incorporate all these different things. So we're hoping it'll show public facilities, recreation facilities, all of those things as they pertain to the different maps, so the internal map or the external map. So yes, the hope is to fold all of those in, and we're kind of figuring out how we can make that work down the road in phase 3, 4, 5, and beyond.
So I think I had heard, first of all, this was fantastic. Great job on the team. Jackson, was it? Did I get that right?
Yes, Jackson.
Really nailed it. I mean, and the entire team really, really impressive work that you have here together. I think it's going to be really helpful for people, that, especially if you're just moved here, and you can find, this resource for you and explore what's available in Longmont. So I think it's really fantastic. My one question is like understanding how the data flows into the system. Like really, where I'm getting it to is how do we maintain this over time? Is this something that we're going to just like here's a snapshot as of January 12th, and then like 2 years later, it's like, oh yeah, that thing, and then it's falls by the wayside, and it's missing things or not up to date. Do we have a process in place to manage that, and how does it look?
That's an excellent question. So that is a huge part of the Land Space project, is to make sure that we have a site in place that holds all the documents that they will be uploaded to, but then those processes in place. So this whole project will come with a load, like I said, standard operating procedures that any acquisition, any changes, anything like that would go through this process, and that's something we'll present to the city staff in a large scale once the project has wrapped up.
So big training.
Yes,
Oh.
big training, lots of documents and existing sites that everything gets built into to carry it forward. Mm-hmm.
Great.
I was going to say, I'd like to build on that. I think one of the pieces that keep it alive is the fact that we're hoping that you talk about the internal piece of this too. This honestly is kind of like the holy grail of what everyone wants GIS to be with. And you mentioned a great team, but Danielle really kicked this off, and she was tenacious in getting it moving forward. But on the internal side, we have a lot of questions about when was this property purchased, what funds purchased it, what are the water rights that go with it. That is all going in there. So we're hoping people will touch it enough that it has to stay up to date. So we have something that people aren't using. There's no reason to update it, but as long as we keep this as someplace that we know people are going to go to for information, hopefully that'll help us keep it up to date and really relevant.
You definitely have 7 or 6 tonight of people who will be using this. I can say that with pretty good confidence, and maybe 2 more over there. But yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's by demand if we have continued interest in using it. And thank you for
I think it's great project.
Yeah.
I just have one comment, which is I think the focus on publicly accessible land, which is how you define kind of public here, makes sense. I want to see open space on there that's not accessible, because I think it's a really important thing for the city to highlight. The old open space map is still a PDF and not very easy to navigate, and I think it's people are able to understand, I think, the difference between accessible and not accessible on the same map. So having the option to turn that on like you do with other trails and things would be great, because I think it highlights the program in a positive light. And as we know from last year, there's a lot of awareness and interest in open space, and having a public lands map that doesn't show open space parcels is, I think, could be better. Yeah.
I completely understand where you're coming from, and that is the intent with this second phase, is to produce all of that. So we will extract all of those to be clickable for open space specific properties, for agriculturally leased properties, both open space and water and together, for conservation easement properties. So we'll have all those different aspects. We are going to make them available in a different way, and as this progresses, we might see how we can combine this all to be in a clickable form off of one source like this. The tricky part about the public land is that and how we incorporated the rangers into that is it's largely for enforcement as well, just to ensure people truly understand what is publicly accessible. And we've run into challenges if they can turn on and off things that are public land but are not accessible public land. So we will absolutely have all those available in maps with dashboards, so that you can toggle on and off those leases and the water and the acreage that's associated with all those. But they'll live in a different place. And so we are working through some open space website modifications as well. And as we produce that second internal phase of land space, we will extract those ag lands, those conservation easements, and the open space lands to be their own dashboard and map that'll live on that open space website.
Cool. Yeah, I think the distinction between city-owned land that was bought with a certain fund, city-owned land that was bought with open space funds, and city-owned land that was bought with open space funds that's publicly accessible is complex, but really, really important given last year's discussion.
Yeah.
I think the ownership piece is, I spent a lot of time on the county property site, and seeing City of Longmont is great, but knowing what fund purchased the site is critically important for the public to understand.
Yeah.
And I think that's in the data, or will be, but it'll be a really good addition in the next phase, I'm sure it will.
You got it. Yeah, that's exactly what we're working on next. And we have found quite the endeavor. So we're really, really excited for what comes out of that as well. And we're hoping to have that wrapped up in about 12 to 18 months. So.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Sam made some really good points there, especially given what we experienced last year. And
it was basically impossible to find out what fund purchased the city on land without asking somebody.
Right.
And this will help that a lot.
Yeah. All right. We're going to move on to St. Vrain Greenway Phase 13 update
Yes.
item.
Hi, I'm Sarah Kritcha. I'm a project manager with Open Space, and I've been managing St. Vrain Greenway Phase 13 for about 2+ years since I got on. Took it over from Danielle, so it's been an ongoing long project. But yeah, we're excited. We awarded the construction contract to Myers and Sons Construction in October, and we did release a news release recently saying that we're kicking off construction. They have a 550 calendar days to complete the work, and that started on November 9th, so we're starting that. They haven't broke ground yet because they're still working on obtaining some of the last permits. But within the next week or so, they expect to start doing the survey and staking, putting up erosion control, BMPs, prairie dog management. There's a few areas around here that we need to do that. So we're working on passive relocation for those. But yeah, so again, I know I've been here, but it's been a while. So there are new faces, and so we have it. It's going to connect down here to the current St. Vrain Greenway down at Sandstone Ranch Nature Area. So it'll go like through the parking lot by the visitor center and then come up along basically Sandstone Drive, and it's going to be concrete for that portion. And then as it turns south and east, it's going to turn into Crusher Fines Trail. So this map is, it's made to be visually like ADA accessible on our website, so it's less detailed than what we had up previously, but I'll just walk us through it a bit. So then it's going across a private property that the city holds a conservation easement over, and the property owners have been so gracious and worked with us for years to determine like where to put this trail across their property. So it's basically on the northern end of their property. It keeps it sort of closer to the development, out of the riparian area, out of the watershed, and it doesn't disturb the open space views as much. And then it continues east and it goes over the city's old landfill property. And then it's going to turn north, go back to concrete, and we have a bridge because of just the grade, just the elevation there, and we need to also avoid the utility easement here. Mm-hmm. And then it continues, and then we're going to do an underpass at Highway 119, so it's a safe crossing. And then it'll connect to the sidewalk here, but then it turns east, goes it along CDOT right away. There's a one-span bridge across the creek, and then it'll connect into St. Vrain State Park's trail system. So it's about 2.2 miles of trail, and we did receive a Dr. Cog grant that's administered through CDOT, so it comes with all the CDOT requirements too. So the right-of-way we had to do per CDOT's standards, which there were 3 different trail easements we needed to acquire for this one, so that was a lengthy process as well. But yeah, I'm here just to give you an update, let you know this is happening, and then answer any questions if there are any. But so we would expect then construction to be done in like mid-May 2027.
Wow.
Great, thanks for the update.
Amazing. I'm psyched.
Yeah.
How can I get the more detailed map?
I can email it to
You have to
you.
ask
Yeah,
people,
if people
you know?
ask, then
Yeah.
we can send them.
You guys still can't post it?
Yeah, they would rather us stick with this.
Can we work on that,
So-
Sean, with council? There's like a perception that we can only post this version of things and not the more detailed ones.
Yeah.
And I think if we post this along with the detailed version, that would be an interesting compromise.
Would you send me an email with that
Yeah, I can do that.
specifically
Thanks.
so that I can
Okay, I'll ask you,
make
sir.
sure I'm
Okay.
carrying that forward correctly?
Very cool.
Great. Any other comments or questions from the board on this topic? Appreciate the update.
All right, thank
It's
you.
really good. We're exciting. We're all
Hello.
anxiously waiting for May 2027, and it's not going to slip, right? Oh, just teasing. All right. All right.
And then our project's due.
550
Fight
days.
today.
It's pretty good.
Okay, we have the Bigelow purchase. Yeah.
Yes, hi. I'm pulling up a map because we have a new person here, and for everybody else as a reminder, I'm Danielle. I'm the open space manager, and in the very end of December 2025, we closed on the Bigelow purchase. So let's see here. If I had gotten here ahead of time, I would have had this pulled up, but I did not. So I'm gonna fly us to it.
That's really fun.
We'll see if this works here. Kind of. If this doesn't work, then you'll just have to watch me fly without it. No, that did not work.
Also, by the way, definitely not Weld County Road.
Okay, so there's 119. See, this is what I did not want to do with you. Watching. Help.
Yeah, just go by the creek.
There it
Just
is.
by the creek and
Okay.
go up.
Yeah.
There
Where your hand is, where your hand
There
is.
you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so
There's distal.
there's. I'm too far in here. So this, and so then we have. You might remember some of these shapes from last year. This here is our is the tall property, and some of the open space sections of it are here. And we have the creek, and then we have our distal open space, and then we have the Bigelow purchase here. Do I have this right?
Yeah, north.
This one?
Yep.
Sorry, guys. So right adjacent to distal to the west, this triangle here is the Bigelow purchase, and so there are it's 4 parcels. This is the main parcel. There are some easement parcels, and in a complex way we have access from Weld County Road 20.5 to get to our open space property. And what is great about this is that in time, while we purchased this open space property, we also encumbered it with a conservation easement. So Sarah was able to work with Boulder County. We purchased this over the last few months. We added the conservation easement in, and Boulder County worked with us, and they now hold the conservation easement over this property in perpetuity. Questions?
That's great.
Yay.
This map is a little tricky to look at, we know. But when we had talked about it, I guess that was November or December?
November.
November, thank you. Good memories. Jeez.
Because we canceled December, that's the only reason.
Yeah, of course. Of
Oh,
course.
yeah.
Right. Well, this completed kind of the picture over, between distal toll, all the properties that we own, right? And this there was still a couple of gaps in there, but there was a big gap missing of this land and this parcel, and now it's connected.
Well, yes. Open
Hard to
space.
visualize, but
It's hard to visualize because I didn't get here in time to pull up, and I'm not going
That's okay,
to get
that's
into
okay.
my files right now.
no,
here,
that's
but,
totally fine.
I can certainly send something out that is just a map. The map that, I would
We
have
had
maybe
looked
pulled up in
at
November,
yeah.
that shows where all the other properties are in relation to this, so that it can solidify the picture for you.
Right.
I think the only person would be probably Sarah, and you probably have done a little bit of research.
Yeah, you're right. It was kind of that donut hole that got filled in there with everything else.
Yes, thank you. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm
Thank
happy
you for
to...
validating that I'm not insane.
Nope.
No,
Okay.
I'm happy to send out the map because I'm visual too, and it's hard to just see this.
Right.
Turnover thing.
It's more of a turnover shape than says.
not a donut, a
Not a
turnover.
donut.
Good correction, well, keep that in mind. Okay.
Okay. All right, that's
Or
it.
scone. Okay, great. Thank you. All right, we got one more to go.
That's me.
Stewardship program.
That's me. Hello. I'm Taylor.
Hi, Taylor.
Stewardship program supervisor. I think I talked to you all at the October meeting, which I guess would have been your second to last meeting. So that's not too long ago. So this will be a really quick update. Not too much is new. I probably overdid it on the PowerPoint, so I really will slam through this. Oh, that's good. All right, we'll go. That's awesome. Give me one sec. We'll do it from here. A little bit less formal, but that's fine. Cool. So, quick overview or reminder. Our big 5-year GoCo grant was accepted. Our proposal was accepted back in September, which is really exciting. It's something we've been sort of looking forward to for years now, really. Our total award over the 5-year period is $230,000. This is in partnership primarily with Thorn Nature Experience. That is an organization. They're based out of Lafayette. And they've done this before in the city of Lafayette and the city of Boulder. And now we're focusing on Longmont. So we are one of the beneficiaries, as well as I think another dozen or so organizations, nonprofits in the Longmont area. And we have 2 programs we're using this money for. One is Backyard to Backcountry, which is the program I developed, and that is a family-based bilingual program. So we'll have about 50 folks in the first year, and we'll see if we want to expand after that or if we can expand after that. But planning on 50 folks in year 1. So maybe 10-ish families that will be doing a series of activities and events to get folks comfortable in the outdoors. So some is just like nature play, like getting outside, having fun, getting used to being outside in their own neighborhoods, and then we sort of progress towards things like skill building and stewardship. So it should be really fun. I'm excited. So yeah, approval has been received. MOU is in progress with Thorn. Basically, it's ready to go. We just sent it off to the legal team for review and to put a signature page on it today. The internal budget and match appropriations are underway, and we are preparing for City Council approval, which will be January 27th. Fingers crossed. We're on the schedule under general business, which means we get to do a full presentation rather than just they say yes or no and ask us a couple questions. And once we're approved, that triggers the ability for GoCo to say to Thorn and to us, yes, here's your award, here's your money. So with that in mind, we should have our year 1 funds available as early as February. So in the next month, maybe month and a half, we'll actually have funds for this grant to work with. So we'll begin our 5-year term, which is really exciting. Our program will launch this spring. I forgot to mention the other side. So the other side of it, so there's the Backyard and Backcountry program, which is mine, and then the Navigators program is with the Youth Center. So Children, Youth, and Families is also receiving about half the funds from this grant, and that's an existing program they have. It's an after-school program, and once a week they do some sort of outdoor exploration. And so they actually they'll have the funds to expand that to more kids, middle schoolers and high schoolers, and sort of enhance the experience. Right now they don't have the funds to do it well, frankly. So that's the other half of this. So yeah, they'll get started. I think as soon as they have funds ready to go, they'll get started, and the Backyard to Backcountry program will start in May. Also funded by this grant is a seasonal bilingual position for 3 years, which is really cool. That seasonal bilingual employee will be split between Children, Youth, and Families and the Navigators program and Open Space and our Backyard to Backcountry program. So they'll coordinate between the 2 departments on this grant and also work with other contracted vendors or whoever we work with on this programming. And they'll be the one running the programs day to day. So, I meant to delete this slide. That's basically what I just said. This last bit, I know this is really small. Let's see if this wants to. There we go. And this is, I realized about 10 minutes ago I should have put this in a chart rather than this bunch of text. But basically, we've got year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, and year 5. You can see the grant allocation stays relatively stable for the first 3 years with a little bit of extra funding, about $10K extra funding in the first year just to kick things off, and because some things are one-time buy it at the beginning purchases. And then in our open space cash match, I didn't include Children, Youth, and Family stuff because I figured we had enough numbers on here, but our cash match starts at $3,500, bumps up $500 in year 3. So we'll have to find a way to plan for an extra $500 in a couple years. Shouldn't be a big deal. And then our in-kind match is really most of the match that we're providing. In year 4, everything changes. So in year 4, that's when the city of Longmont, we're hoping, can commit to funding that seasonal bilingual position internally, split between children, youth, and families and open space. So you can see we receive a lot less money because that position is no longer being grant funded, and our staff in-kind match doubles so that we can support that position. And then our cash match goes up a little bit too. So yeah, the idea is that throughout this 5 years, we start with GoCo funding almost everything, and then by the end, we are funding everything.
Can I just ask while
Yeah,
we're here, is this that City Council will be putting this in front of them as well, and that ask for year 4, year 5 as part of this?
In year 1, we're not going to ask them for that, to commit to that, but we'll be letting them know that that ask is coming.
In
3 years, or I guess 2 years for budget
reasons.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, that's the gist. Any questions? I know that was a really quick update.
Would this be considered tier 1 funding?
That's a good question.
No, I don't think so.
Nothing
But
is.
it's really not. But I think, Harold always looks at those when we have grant matches. And last year he started as like tier 1A. Like if we can leverage dollars to benefit, he was looking at how he worked with Teresa and talked to her a lot about how we can look at certain things that really we're missing opportunities if we don't do that. And I think the other things that's really helpful is the fact that, Taylor, what was the presentation that Mayor Peck and Harold got to attend?
That was a meeting I put together just to tell them about the program and how it fits in with
Harold
city
just
goals.
really just bought into this whole thing. And that's why, again, Taylor's getting a chance to present this to council instead of just being an agenda item. Harold said, you got to get this up there and show it. And again, this has been a long process, and I think it's just been phenomenal. It came out of, if you remember, it came out of some of the Bronco Dollars conversations about what can we do for kids in our community. And Taylor and Danielle and Thorne have really come together to do a great job with this.
And now the other part of it being kind of tier 1A is partnering internally with other departments. Like this is huge benefits for 2 departments, two programs to support both of those. And so it's kind of, it is original and unique that open space and children, youth, and families are making this happen together.
Yeah, I think it's good. Yeah, I think there was a really important time in my life when we did something called EDS, Environmental Discovery School, and it was through that. And I have still friends from that today, and it was interesting to think, that's the sort of thing that you want to get kids out into the wilderness and experience that opportunity. So I think it's critically important to success for them as well as what we're trying to accomplish here.
Thanks. Yeah. Did we have numbers? Do you have any? I forget. I think you presented this once before.
Probably. What kind of numbers?
Like number of youth that would be participating in the program.
Yeah, I can send that out, a little summary page. But yes, Backyard to Backcountry should serve about 50 people in the first year. Children, youth, and families, I'm less familiar with their numbers, but I do have them. Just because it's not my program. But I know they serve 30 kids per day, but the number of kids varies. I think it ends up being hundreds of kids throughout the year. It changes completely during the summer, but the program still runs. So let me get those numbers, and I'll send them out.
Okay.
What's the process for somebody to apply for this, like the families to actually?
That's a good question. Yeah, so that piece we're figuring out right now. We're going to work with children, youth, and families to make sure, because they serve some of the lower income and Spanish-speaking communities that we really want to target with this program. So we'll work with children, youth, and families to see if any of the kids who are in their programs right now, if their families are interested in participating. And then we're also going to work with the Community Neighborhood and Resources team who have connections to individual neighborhoods. And then if there's a need to make it do a big public recruitment, then we will, but I kind of wonder if we're going to fill those 50 spots just by targeted recruitment first.
Just like to call on Dan because I saw interest in it.
I just have a question,
Respect,
or
yeah.
actually a comment. If you would like a fishing element in the family element, I guarantee you I could get Kids Fishing Inc., who sponsors the Chick Clark program, to be part of this and
I'd love
provide staff and equipment to do a fishing component.
All right, let's do it.
All right. Thank you for that. Yeah.
Oh, and one
February
final
4th.
thing. Sorry, what's that?
Is there any place to mention your February 4th, looking for,
It's February 4th.
were you looking for some city sponsor, or city individuals to show up to talk to some of the donors?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. We do
You're a
have,
council member.
what's it called? Parkway Food Hall, I
Yes,
think, in Longmont. On February 4th, I don't think we've gotten the exact time yet, but it'll be like an early evening kind of event. Thorn is putting together with some, like a fundraiser kind of event, networking event, to highlight this, not just ours, but the broader Longmont program, so us plus all of the organizations who are involved in this effort, in this grant. So it'll be kind of a networking fundraising event to try to get some individual donations from folks, but also just for people to connect and learn about everything that this grant will be doing over the next 5 years. So I will, once I have times, because I don't think they finalized that, I can send that out to this group too. And if anyone's available, the more City of Longmont representation we have there, the better. And it's the kind of thing you can pop in, pop out, swing by for 30 minutes, shake hands with 2 or 3 people, and have a great impact. So
yeah,
Yeah,
they
it's a
just
good
love
point.
seeing how engaged Longmont really has been, having Harold and the mayor and other people show up, and I'm sure Pratt members, if they get someone there just to introduce themselves, they would love to see that.
Okay.
totally.
Get some takers potentially.
Yeah.
Love to hear about that.
Please. And the final thing I'll say is just as far as maintaining this program and making sure we're staying current and we're responding to the community's needs throughout the 5 years, because the program we may create in year 1 may not be the program we need in year 5. Included in this grant is $10,000 to support the existing Longmont Youth Advisory Board. So we can we can work with the Youth Advisory Board directly, so these kids, to get constant feedback on the work we're doing and the events we're putting on, the programs we're putting together. And we have, as part of this grant, we get, Thorn will be doing either annual or every other year doing like a broader community survey and report, to make sure that we're still hitting the things that the community needs and hopefully having an impact. So, pretty cool. That's all I've got, unless there are any other questions.
I think that's it. You have no questions?
That's great.
It was great.
Good job.
Thank you to everyone for the updates. Appreciate it.
Jerry, that was heavy on the O's tonight, wasn't it?
Good work.
We're missing an arm there.
I know, I can't
Fix that.
quite get it in. I'll adjust up to that.
All right, we're on to the most exciting part of the meeting, which is the administrative parts where we need to do every year, talk about, and this is for legal reasons mostly, but also good for us to have this, and putting out notice of the meeting day and time. We've always gone with 6:30 p.m. on the second Monday of every month. That's worked well for us in the past, but of course we can discuss moving it around if that's needed. But if not, there's a discussion on that. Is there a motion to designate the meeting day and time as the second Monday of every month at 6:30 p.m.?
It's good enough.
I'll make a motion
I tried
that we
to
keep
motion.
it as is.
I feel bad. I end up missing a lot of them, the second Mondays. But like
Okay.
the first would be better, but like it's impossible to change it. We've had it for 20 years probably.
It's not impossible.
Well,
I don't
don't
know.
get too hasty.
There's no reason.
I have to tell you, it's really hard to kind of coordinate with us having liaisons.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
It would,
Yeah.
as much as I
Suggestion changing
understand.
it. Yeah. So yeah.
I'm sorry. I make a motion to continue PrEP meetings on the second Monday of every month at 6:30 p.m. Did I say Monday?
You did, thank you.
p.m.
Is there a second? Great, thank you, Brandy. All those in favor? All right. We didn't get too hasty there. We kept it. Thank you for reminding
Just want to
us.
make it exciting for a bit. You said it's not
We were-
exciting.
We were like, let's debate it now, and mess up everybody else's schedule. The meeting, the designation of meeting location, that's here. I forget the address of this building. But
7 Sunset.
oh, look at on top of it. I don't really see any reason why we would change that. But if anyone wants to argue why we should change it, we should do all our meetings outdoors from now on.
While hiking.
While hiking, yeah. If not,
Keep it, I think.
does anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make the motion this time to keep it at 7 South Sunset Street.
I can second that.
Great, thank you. All those in favor? Okay, that also passes. All right, we'll see you next month over here. Okay, great. And then the next one is where we post the agendas. So I think officially we post it to the website, the city website. That's the official place.
That has been the official place, right, Veronica?
Correct.
And then we also post it in other places as well. Memorial Building, a couple new Chronicles.
Memorial Building, Youth Center,
Rec Center.
Rec Center, Senior Center, and the Civic Center.
As
Awesome.
bonuses. We don't need to do that, but we do it anyway because we
Yeah.
want the public to have an opportunity to join us. So
Also,
thank you for
people
doing that.
cannot access the computers.
Yeah, that's great. Thank
Right.
you.
And officially on the computer, on the internet, on the website is where the posting would be.
Yeah.
Is there-
Designate the city website as the place to post PrEP agendas.
Okay, cutting to the chase here.
I love
So a
it.
second.
I
I'll
can
second.
Oh, there you go.
Great. All right. Awesome. Get in the game.
Yeah, I like
All
it.
in favor? Okay, that also passes. Great. Thank you for cutting me off, Sam. I could get done talking about that.
Did not need to.
Great. You didn't. Okay. The next part we want to cover actually is kind of interesting. In the packet is a proposed 2026 agenda. We don't necessarily need to vote the same because we always have the opportunity to change the agenda as time comes up, new items come up, but some general idea of what we have in store for the next year, what we want to talk about. It is on page, is everyone already looking at it? Am I the last person?
Page 6.
6, great. So maybe we'll just take 2-3 minutes silent read. I'm sure most of you already read this already, but
Who prepared this?
Ben.
Myself and David and
You guys
Jeff.
did, okay. Cool.
And again, Ben said we did prepare this, but it's a strong line. You guys are, it's your agenda. And
Yeah.
Feel free to throw out whatever you think appropriate.
One of our goals this time, we've certainly struggled with trying to present relevant budget information on a relevant timeline to be able to get feedback. It's challenging based on when the meetings happen. Last year, obviously, we had a whole different agenda that needed to happen, but that's why we've set it up the way you see now, is that we will address budget both in February and then March. So that's our attempt at trying to have this a little bit more open, a little more feedback before the horse is left the barn, essentially.
So I think what we had talked about potentially is for February, it's food for thought. Here's what you should know. Noodle on it for a little bit. And then in March, we can talk about recommendations, any...
And there's still some ability in April to bring it up again if we feel like we need to.
Like staff will be prepared with maybe numbers more in March or April.
Yeah.
Right. Just that your point about February is to noodle on that. These are the categories of things we're going to focus on. Okay. No, I think that's great.
Yeah, appreciate that. Is there a appropriate time to talk about GoCo grant? That's an annual thing that comes up.
There's I'm not sure, do you have a specific, because there are several, GoCo has a bunch of cycles.
I just feel like there's always a thing in the spring where it's like the city's feedback is requested for GoCo grant process, and last year we didn't submit anything for recommendation.
So I think that would have been, that's what the BOCO.
BOCO, sorry.
Yeah, so
not GoCo,
that's okay.
Yeah.
Because there are GoCo ones that come
Great
up
Outdoors,
as well.
yes.
Exactly, and then Boulder County has always asked, because they, in some municipalities, they get their lottery dollars specific to that agency.
Yeah.
Boulder County collects it for all of them. They reach out to all the municipalities and ask how they can help participate and support. So Danielle probably has to be better on when that information is due, but we can get that for you.
I don't know that it's come out. Last year they didn't release that. They're revamping it. So I don't know if it's coming out this year. We heard
Yes. So
probably will, but
it probably will, but their director has retired and their real estate manager has retired. So there's going to be a lot of changes over there. So we still have enough relationship. We can reach out, but I'm sure they have lots of stuff on their plate. Right
yeah,
now.
we can check.
Cool. When you hear something, we can look to add it on.
Yeah, that's fine. That was it.
Sarah,
Good call out.
or something.
Yeah.
We do have some ideas this year if they reach out, but we may knock on their door.
We talked about that last year as well. We went through a list. I think it was Danielle that gave the update. But then our ask was, if I remember correctly, not adding anything new. Right. It was continuing to request what we had already asked for in previous years. Okay. Other thing to call out here is that we, and this is to me really important, we do annual reports for 2025 the following year to see how we've done. The idea is that we want to see, well, first of all, celebrate the successes that we've had and thank our amazing staff for all of the things that we were able to push through. But also think about kind of opportunities for improvement and where we want to, make recommendations on how we want to see things go forward. And I think it's also good to have on the public record as well, just as a third reason to have that recorded and in the notes. This time around, we're going to split it up into two different meetings.
You got. That's what I was going to explain why we did that, so you can.
The why is because of timing of reporting and data, right? But what it does mean is that we won't have one long meeting where everyone comes and goes through. We'll have two breakout sessions. We may or may not do it in the other room, depending on the size of the group.
Yeah, the other room that we've got. Danielle again has done a good job, kind of upgrading that room and stuff. So it works pretty well if people do show up. So we just plan on that. And,
So we'll have those sessions. Great. It always feels a little bit more official in there too, a little bit more parliamentarian. But those are good updates. So that does mean that we'll have room in those agendas to cover other items outside of just the annual report. We talked about April could potentially being a continuation of the budget ideas if we don't have outstanding things from March. September typically we found is a pretty good time of year to do field trips. Weather's nice, it's not too hot. We did last year really awesome volunteering thing. I picked a lot of seeds.
Really fun.
I think it was great. Yeah. And we'll get to decide.
Up and threw them back down again. A different place.
It felt a little futile.
Might have kept a few in your socks. But,
There was definitely a couple in my socks. Yes. We don't have to stick with that, but of course we can talk about doing that again this year. That would take the place of the meeting. We typically will, cancel the meeting officially and then have that there.
Can I have, I want to give a suggestion for field trip next year is based on recreation. I think that as a committee, we've been really focused on parks this year, which makes sense. There's been a lot going on, but I'd love us to go into recreation space this time.
Love it.
So, just throwing it out there.
Okay. We will have a discussion on the field trip details closer to.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm happy to log that now in the notes. I think that's good. Thank you for bringing it up. Appreciate it. I think I more or less agree with you. And then other things, you'll see December's empty. and that's not because we just ran out of ideas, right? It's because we typically see things slow down. Like last year, we did cancel because there weren't any topics to address. It's too early to go into budget planning. It was kind of a rough time. So we'll see. I'm not suggesting that we cancel the meeting or agree on canceling the meeting now, but for right now, we don't have anything scheduled for then. But if there's ideas from the group, what we could be covering then, it will be my last meeting for 6 years. So I don't want to cancel necessarily. We should have a cake party. I'm just
I
kidding.
was gonna say.
It's really silly. It's really silly. Don't do that.
Well, if we do, let's make sure we do it in October.
Okay.
In November, we don't.
Yes.
I have one other question.
Please.
I was thinking that I know there's maybe some interest in rhythm and changes to that next year. Is the spring a good time to talk about that?
Update.
Okay. So would that cover kind of like, can you cover just like the summer events calendar at that point, maybe?
Yeah,
Not just 4th of July?
It's a bigger picture. than
Okay,
4th of
cool.
July.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So we'll do that post after the summer event. Cool. Cover summer and review of all the big events.
Yeah, we'll talk about them beforehand, and then we're going to talk about them after because we have a lot of change coming.
Great. It's always very interesting.
And then I just noticed too, and this is something that I didn't notice before, June, in addition to the name change for prep, which probably don't need 2 hours to cover that, I'm sure we'll have other items, but there's also a bylaws review. Is that to talk about voting on items?
That's one of the topics.
Okay.
It's been, Jeff realized it's been, I don't know how many years he said, it's been many years since the bylaws have been reviewed, so it's just time.
Yeah.
So we'll have those out in advance for everybody to go through, and then we'll discuss them. And certainly voting, the way it came up last year is one of the things we'll want to address because it was a situation that could come up again, and we wanted to make sure we were able to have the plan for it. That was one example, but the general idea of looking at the bylaws, it's time.
And I think along the same lines is kind of how we proceed. We're looking at potentially discussing at council the how we go about appointing members of our boards, commissions. This board is not an issue, in my opinion. You guys are very open to who's available, that sort of thing, and wouldn't generally have anybody that was trying to be back on the board be an interviewer on the board or some sort of thing like that, which would give some sort of perceived impression of kind of stacking the deck. And so you guys have never been the issue or the problem. It's other boards that kind of don't seem to quite grasp that procedural element. And we're just kind of readdressing that to make sure how we approach things, I think, in the near future. And so you're the exemplar.
But it sounds like you might suggest that we, in the bylaws, it's going to
that's why I'm saying that would be something that we'd see proceed to how we would proceed in those things. We might say,
prevent that kind of thing from happening.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. That's a good addition. All right. I know it's one of those things where it's like a blank canvas, but any other topics or ideas that we should be entertaining for next year? Again, there's always opportunities to add.
If you can just bring them up next time, you can send them an email. I mean, I think we're pretty fluid on just getting our topics and discussing them.
Yeah. So say if you do have one, email Ben, Jeff, and David. Don't email the board.
Do not do that.
And then we can look at that. All right. Cool. We will move on then. And I need Sam to remind me to keep going because I'm drowning a little bit. All right. We're going to talk about the packet updates and what's in the packet. Who's got questions from what they saw in the packet from... Oh boy. Sam. Yes.
On Union Reservoir, I saw there was a note about current levels and peaking in October and things. Do we anticipate avoiding last year's problem, or this year? Yeah, last year's problem this year.
So last year's problem was actual physical infrastructure.
Yeah.
This year's problem is Mother Nature.
Okay.
So there's just.
But we're set up to be able to pull
Yes,
water as
we
needed.
definitely are, and our
to
water
head towards a
resources-
good summer of access.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if we have water resources will be working with us to try to use the new infrastructure to get as much water diverted to us as possible.
And is there any, I guess, relevant schedule updates on like the county road realignment and that project?
No.
Okay, it's like between the city and the water company still? Or that,
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
There's a couple things going on there because
Okay.
it's
Cool. My other question was about, was that Greenway Phase 12, so the western side. We talked several years ago, I think, about like some complicated land acquisitions that he was involved in, waiting for signatures west of Golden Ponds.
So,
and it dropped off. It dropped off of our monthly updates. Maybe to ask is just, can we get an update on that next month?
Oh yeah, we definitely can. But
The reason I ask is the county. There's an article in the Camera about the county's open space acquisitions for next year, and they talk about buying the properties south of Pella as a plan.
Okay.
And that is one of the things that might enable that. And I had some questions about just how that's proceeding.
Yeah, on our side, that was something actually Stephanie worked on a lot. Getting those signatures, we've been looking at different ways with the open space group now on how best to align that trail with the existing properties, the properties that we now have access to. Also being very sensitive of some of our wildlife, natural areas, and not trying to put additional, especially even paralleling trails in an area that we may not need to. So still some work to do there, but anyone from Danielle's team having updates on 12?
Yeah,
besides that?
I'm happy to update on that. I'll be the project manager on that west phase. Yes. And so right now for 2026, the goal is to start the initializing process for the project. We'd like to do an internal SES process with our sustainability group and our ecosystem group and some other a larger team to kind of look at the properties that were required and what routes might work out for that. And then I have been working with Boulder County, who, as was mentioned, is going through a pretty big transition. So the individual I was working directly with has since left Boulder County, but gave us a lot of references for folks we should be contacting in terms of that trail. And we'd really like to pursue some joint regional grant initiatives because the budget is not there as well. So we're going to try to work with Boulder County on figuring out what that looks like. But my last update from them was that they've acquired, the properties in between to get to Pella. And so we kind of have those things that are lining up. We just have to work through the process of where we can build the trail on our end and then look at how we're going to get the funds to do so. But I'm happy to start putting in an update for that.
Yeah, even if it's just that it's still in progress.
Yeah,
it's helpful to have that.
Yes.
That's all I had. Thanks.
Great. I keep looking at you and you keep getting the same response.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna change.
Ready? Sarah.
I had a question about the Dry Creek #1 trail. So can somebody just explain to me kind of where that's going to go and then how that's going to happen without, or is that going to impede traffic in that area while that's happening
So
too?
this is a trail extension from behind Sam's Club, and it extends over to Sunset, but a portion of that, the last portion will be on the road.
Okay.
The markings. And this project's currently in design, so they're finishing up all the easements through the mall property.
Okay.
Because they've got to do a wayfinding piece to get you from where you come out through there and then into the new trail, which is then going to go on the south side of Dry Creek there, that ditch.
Okay.
So that'll be the section of trail, concrete trail, until it gets to that cul-de-sac. I don't know if you've ever driven back there.
Is this like behind Hobby Lobby and that?
It is. It's over by as you're approaching Sunset.
Further down. Okay.
It pops out kind of like Sunset and 119. There's a gas station.
It's kind of like back here over to Sunset Street. Is this area?
Okay.
Yeah, so it pops out into that little street, and then there's another project underway with our streets department, with those civil engineers, and they're reworking the intersection of Sunset and Highway 119.
Okay.
So that'll create a safer crossing. So those two projects are going to run side by side.
Great.
So the design is nearing completion. The easements are nearly done, and that is probably going to go out to bid Q2 of this year.
Okay.
So a project manager on my team is going to oversee the construction portion in collaboration with the street engineering team overseeing the intersection portion.
Okay. And so long term, will that end up connecting to like, is that Lobo Trail then on further down on Sunset somehow?
No,
Or
if that's where that one goes, and then that'll get into the bike lanes to go north up to the St. Vrain Greenway.
Okay. Good.
There will be a project page. It's going to be put on our website once we have more dates. They're actually having a kind of the two project managers are having a kickoff meeting tomorrow to kind of do the handoff.
Okay.
So I would probably expect that in the next couple of weeks to show up on our website.
Great. Thanks.
Great. Good stuff. I had 2 items. May or may not have updates on this. So the one was the crazy wind we were getting, and this is in the packet as well, especially with respect to Button Rock. It says in the update that it fared well. Some removal happened. I remember, I think it was last year that we had a small grant to do some forestry removal and protection in place. Does that sound right?
Mm-hmm. We've had several up there.
Several up there.
Yeah.
So I think my kind of following up with that is just, what is in store next? I mean, do we have more dollars lined up to continue that work? I mean, what is the recommendation? I think we acknowledge that there's still risks with the current setup. So.
Danielle, if you have anything more on that, but a couple of things. We now have a full-time forestry person up there that really is helping implement the grants and stuff, but also trying to do a better job managing what's up there, what needs the next grant. The other piece is Price Hadley, who was the watershed ranger up there and been phenomenal in getting grants up there. He has taken a job with Boulder County in the range program. So I know.
Good for him.
Yeah, exactly. We all do the same
thing.
So he is. Danielle's been doing a good job trying to doing the Button Rock management plan. She's been coordinating with Price on how we don't drop things. So do you have any updates for the group?
Well, I mean, also at the Button Rock, we have the forest stewardship plan, which is its last update was in 2017. So that was kind of the next thing that he was interested in biting off. So in conjunction with the Button Rock management plan, updating that forest stewardship plan because of all the work that's been done on forestry mitigation since 2017 and some of the direction that came out of the management plan, needing to incorporate all the mitigation work and spaces that has been done on isn't captured in that plan. So I think that is on the Button Rock work plan as well.
Okay, which may or may not be something you can tackle, or it's more of like replacing.
Liz, who is the forestry person up there,
okay.
I would think that she would.
Okay. And for this group, there would be again talking about all the changes and stuff too. We talk about how we fill that gap because the ranger group has been moved over into public safety, so they have a little bit more enforcement role than they did. So Jim Crick over Ecosystems Management has been working with myself and Chris Huffer of Water Resources to make sure that we're covering everything from the natural resource side to the dam management to the law enforcement and rangering up there too.
Right.
So we got a little bit of work to do as we kind of move into this new position.
Okay. This is one of those areas where it's, maybe not the most exciting thing. It's not a new park or anything, but if we're here to protect this land for generations to come, kind of want to make sure it doesn't burn down.
It's pretty exciting, I would say.
Okay, good.
That's our almost 3,000 acre preserve. It's
right.
Quite unique that the city has that.
Yeah.
And Water Resources is very aware of what's happened to other watersheds when they have those sort of catastrophic fires around and what it does to the water supply. So and actually the state is aware of it too as we looked at all these forest grants and stuff is the reason we've done so well in that because it really is one of those areas that provides so much water to Longmont and Lyons.
Not an area we want to underinvest in.
Exactly.
Okay. Sounds like I'm preaching to the choir here.
No, it's great. Get it on record and make sure everyone knows it because it's an important piece.
Great. And then the other thing I had, which is apparently, there it is. Another update. This one was from Bryce, Union Reservoir. Water level has fluctuated a lot this year, currently sitting at 23.75 feet, completely full will be 28 feet. Water level peaked, is slowly dropping now. Water Resources is hopeful to have the reservoir filling throughout the fall, winter. I'm just a little bit confused on what that update means. Are things going in the right direction? Not so much. I know that we had issues last year with the
Oligarchy ditch and some of the
Oligarchy
construction
ditch,
and
right.
conversion structures. And
Are
stuff.
we in a better position for this
So
spring?
if we get water, the infrastructure is there, and water resources will definitely be working with us to get as much water as we're entitled to with all the other obligations as possible. So definitely that's where we're aiming for. And again, if we had more precipitation, I'd probably say it with more confidence. But yes, we're ready to take water.
Okay.
Snowy March.
Yes.
So the board is going to do a ritualistic snow dance after this. Hopefully we get that. And, okay, so we can have boating and everything next year. Great.
A semi-related question. So I saw that you had the loaner life jacket station at McIntosh. What's the city's role there as far as are the rangers? Is that part of your jurisdiction for rangers too, like Union, or is it different?
So McIntosh is part of the jurisdiction of the city. It's it is a reservoir company property that the city has a lease on the surface right there. We have property on around it, and it was actually a project that was brought up by a local Eagle Scout that wanted to do a project. We know that other entities like state parks and stuff do life jacket and PFD kind of loaner programs. So it was put in by this Eagle Scout for their project, and they did it in conjunction with some of Stephanie's team and with our rangers to make sure we did that, and our legal team and our risk team, and exactly. So everyone's involved with that, and it really, again, we manage that reservoir as part of our recreational and park amenities.
The signs are being printed now, which does have a liability waiver as well as instructions, and those will be posted before it opens in the spring.
Okay. And does that mean that reservoir is also is that tested? Is the water tested by the city, or is that?
That's why it's
still
no body
outside of it?
contact, no swimming, paddle boarders we recognize fall off.
Right.
And sometimes like to play around their boards, but we try to encourage them that they need to stay on the boards because there is no water quality testing. There's no swim beach. If we had a swim beach, we would have to do that.
Okay.
And the other piece of fun, we had really low compliance on PFDs up there, so we just have to, if you have a PFD, you just had to go. This way at least people can get a warning, they can pick something up and still enjoy the day.
Right. Great. Cool.
All right. Good question. Thanks. Okay. We're going to move on to items from staff.
I have one thing I want to mention,
Please.
and I'll be talking about this in March for sure, but anybody who's been here for a little while is familiar with recreation struggles with budget post-COVID. I know Sean knows. Yep. Both on the expense side, revenue has gotten better and better, but certainly for a while we were struggling. Just wanted to mention I'm very proud of our staff because our expense side was made better this year by $480,000, and our revenue side was increased by $480,000. If you asked me a year ago, I said there's no way that we made it. We surpassed our budget revenue by about $45,000 in a $4.5 million budget. It's this much, but very proud of our staff. We made it under budget, which also was going to be very close because that 480 was about half of the amount that we need to cover to have a flexible budget. And we made it under budget. As far as I know, a couple things still coming in, and I get weekly emails on moving money from here to there. But just want to mention how proud of it I am of our staff, of really keeping things tight. It's the reason, Sarah, you don't have your placard yet. Veronica had to wait till the first of the year to purchase it.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
And I just want to mention because I'm very proud of our team and what everybody's done.
It takes a lot because it's not only trying to drive revenue, but it's also trying to cut and be as frugal with stuff as they could. So they did a phenomenal job.
Yeah. And this year is a little different. We did get more expense. So expense is not necessarily an issue this year, we hope. Revenue-wise, though, it was raised another $480,000, and so that's why you've seen our brochure. We have an increase coming February 1st in our costs, and it's kind of what we have to do. It's not necessarily something we want to do, but we're optimistic for this year, and we're definitely on the right track and we'll be very close to 80% cost recovery for this last year. Extremely close. I think our budgeted amount was 77.5% or something like that, but I think we'll probably be in the 79% range. So it's been a really good year, and I will talk more about that. But I'm just very proud of our guys for everything they've done, including Veronica.
In the past, we've talked about potentially adjusting the cost recovery. Are you recommending now or suggesting that we don't necessarily need that for 2026?
No, there's a complicated question there.
Innocent question, but
no, it's very valid, and David and Jeff and I have talked about this actually in the last week for sure. Short answer is no. There's more to it. We've talked about the scholarship program. $100. It's been $100 since 1999 or so.
Yeah.
We can't expand that program with the way we're set up right now because we can't afford to and maintain that. Now, there's different ways to look at it. Do we get credit for it? There's lots of ways, but we would certainly like to see that change. Sean's seen it too, that we put that in there, but there is a monetary cost at some point to the city. And the city's not flush right now.
Yeah,
so.
you guys, I think, do a great job. I think there's some folks out there in other boards and commissions that think somehow they should emulate what you're doing, and I'm like, no. It's not the same thing. We're not comparing apples and oranges. This is a completely different activity that's associated with really expanding the for the entire community, and people that are coming in from other communities, so to speak, outside of Longmont, and so we have to make it so it's not so crushing to you guys, to expectation wise, but we also, to your point there, we need to expand some of these things. When we don't take into account cost of living changes and these things, we really probably don't do ourselves much of a disservice. We find ourselves going, gee, now we've actually gotten to the point where we'd have to double what we were doing
And to comment on that, we actually, we'll just go on a little bit here. We are involved in what's called the city's, our term right now, I don't know what the official name, but the CARES program is how we look at it. And it's involving a centralized system for folks to come for various assistance programs through the city, Recreation Scholarship being one of them. And so we're hoping that this enables us to create some criteria, because we haven't really had criteria that if you've qualified for this, then we just have your name, and it's very easy for folks who come up. If you don't, we're going to say, here's how you register to see if you can be qualified. Very excited about this because this allows us the opportunity to do this program, or to do an expanded program to really those who need it. And so we're going to be doing the program no matter what, because we'll be starting it with the $100, but Veronica's very involved with that one also. So it's something we're very excited about.
I wonder if even at some of our newer parks there wouldn't be a benefit to having and I don't want to rely too heavily on this, but, and I've said it before, a QR code at some of the spots to say, you came in here, you saw how wonderful this park was, and especially in some of our pockets, there are parks that are kind of more associated with particular neighborhoods. And you've enjoyed this, and you've liked the exclusivity of kind of having this be your so-called park. Maybe there's an opportunity for people to give back because they've really had a serious benefit to it. And the QR code specifically takes them to a donation.
And you can donate to us. I think that's a really good idea.
Because, I mean, it hits people where they feel so good about a positive day at the park, a positive day at doing something like that.
And we do have a roundup system on the website. Can't do it in person. I don't Sue Ellen can tell you why. I can't explain it, but that's one small example that we're using now. But yeah, to try to actually fund such a program, at least to some extent, that's one way of making it work without having to make too much adjustment to policies.
And one of the things that I just, not to open this up, but we're looking at a app to go with RecTrack. Because one of the problems now, if you just did that QR code, you're like, this is great. I think the way it's up right now, you'd have to have an account. You'd have to. It makes it hard just to click a button and do it. I think the new thing.
I actually had a crazy idea. You know how packed Macintosh gets in the summer. I wish we could have somebody that came by, checked in with people, and said, "Are you having a good day?" And when they say, "Yeah, I'm having a good day," say, with the city, we're trying to make sure that we cover the cost of what's to make this the quality experience that you want. Would you be interested in donating? And they're dressed up, city hats, city shirts, city things like that, and maybe right there, almost like a point of sale sort of situation, and they guide that person through. And what you benefit from that is you get them registered. To your point, David.
Yeah.
So different ideas are out there, and
definitely try and figure out. We had a dog park. If you wanted to upgrade it and they wanted to donate, we ran that little stumbling block that if you're in the system, it's easy, but if you're out there, you just want to click it. Also, you got to go through the whole process, setting up your account and stuff. Feel like just give up. So we're trying to make that easier.
Goes back to we had to.
Sue Ellen been really looking at ways to make it easier.
We had to close down our guest sales online for everything because of the amount of attacks that our system was getting. That happened this summer, and we were going through donations for Callahan, trying to get that set up, that you could go do that, and we ended up just having to shut that entire system down. And that's everywhere. It's not just us. It's unless you have an account, it makes it it's very hard. So looking at different options.
Yeah.
Sorry to go down a rabbit hole here.
No, I think this is so interesting. I wonder too if, like, my partner likes to play in the rec leagues, and I wonder if you could add on a little thing that's like, do you want to add $5 to help pay for extra rec fees, or for the monthly memberships, would you like to support your community with $5 more a month? Something like that, where they're in the system already.
Right.
It's just toggling
Exactly.
something. Because I would easily, like, every time.
So
like,
this is a bigger topic.
here's-
I really appreciate
yeah.
this group mentioning this. It's something that we struggle with because we know the people in our community that have the means and ability to contribute more. But when we say we're running short in dollars, we want to go out and ask for a general increase. There's an equity issue there.
Right.
So how do you do that in a way? And we're looking at the CARES program. We're looking at QR codes. We definitely have a shortfall. But a broad brush is not going to be a way to address it. I think these creative ideas are just.
I just think even going to all these things, how many activities we have during the year, whether it be with the chamber or not. We're members of the chamber. So having our staff walk around with this and register people so that we don't have that that issue, so that when they go to use the QR code, it's seamless because they have been registered at Unity in the community and some other activity, and so it's if they're already signed up, great. If they're not, but it's a little bit of a, hey, look at you. You were already signed up. You were already in the system. You're already connected. So then you can do the pitch. Next time you're at a park, you've had a great day. You can donate.
Great. That's all I have.
Thank you. Good topic. So you mentioned maybe March. You want to talk about that again?
Well, that's my report.
It's your report. Okay.
Yeah, we'll have. That'll be a piece of that.
Got it.
Good work too,
That's
your
some
team,
good.
though. That's so.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So awesome.
People have done really well.
Any other items from the board?
We're presenting on next month.
Okay, great. Looking forward to it.
And we have everything else in the packet. I have all the pretty things next month.
Ooh, the pretty things. Love that. All right. Then we just move to the items from the board. Does anyone have any items you want to bring up for this month? Okay. Then we can move to adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor? We are adjourned. All right.
Happy New Year.